Hello, welcome to TiE Denver Mentorship Minutes. My name is David Fine, and I'm here with Ted Finch. Ted Finch is a marketing expert. He's worked with many Fortune 500 companies, all the names that you know from Apple, IBM, Compaq, as well as over 100 startups and mid-sized companies. And the problem we're going to talk about today is in an economic disruption, whether it's a minor one or a huge one like we're in today, where the economy has been majorly disrupted, how to use marketing to solve those problems, whether it's a challenge or a crisis. So Ted, can you tell us a little bit about your background and why you are the right person to tell us about how to solve these kind of problems with marketing?
Sure. Yeah, I was the Vice President of Marketing at General Electric, Senior Vice President Motorola. I launched Netscape, former Instrument Entertainment, Tom Clancy, built a startup from 13 to 4,000 people. And the last 13 years, since I've retired for the 5th time, I consult with other companies, over 400 different companies, including Apple, Intel, Adobe, Disney, large corporations, lots of startups, high tech, and different type of industries. So
Cool.
there's my background.
So in this disrupted economy, and we can use the example we're in right now, which is a massively disrupted local global economy, how to use marketing to address those problems?
Well, it's very interesting because whenever I'm working with a company, they either want to grow or they've got a problem that we've got to solve. And the problem is, in this particular case, just the economy has tanked. Now, more so than normal, but at the same time, I'm used to sometimes where a big competitor came in and for an individual company, it's tanked their business just as bad as the economy has tanked everybody's right now. So the first thing I do is I just apply, 4 P's of the marketing mix, but more so I look at the growth strategies. So there's 4 different areas I look at: the market development, market penetration, diversification, product development. I just use a framework. Once we have that framework, there's an easy way for us to be able to figure out how to fix the problems or grow the company.
So what I hear you saying is these are the same strategies we're normally using, but we're going to use some either aggressive approaches or some focus because the economy is so disrupted. Is that right?
Yes. Well, in the past, we might have had the luxury of sort of like it's happening to us. Right now, it's happened like we fell off a cliff. So we've got to be a lot more aggressive, a lot faster. We've got to get our act together a lot quicker and start to move on these things without even testing or anything. Just make it happen.
Okay. So could you highlight those 4 areas of the 4 P's of the marketing?
Well, the 4 P's, the product, price, placement, and promotion. But on the product part, this is really what we're dealing with here. And that is your services, your product, your business. We're trying to get it to move forward. What we're really looking at is the different strategies.
Okay.
One of those is the growth strategy. And then there's 4 different areas. Again, market development, market penetration, diversification, and product development. And I can give you examples of how those would apply to a small business.
Sure, go ahead. Give us a couple of examples.
Okay. So one of those is let's take a look at let's say market development. The first thing I'm going to do is in one case you also have to see whether or not you have a product that solves a problem. You're just not being aggressive enough to deal with it. So for example, I was trying to add my daughter to our insurance plan with Geico, and it took an hour for the phone call to go through. Usually it takes 5 minutes. When I talked to the guy, he said that all their phone systems are disrupted, everything's a mess. So here, one of the I'm consulting with right now is Call Center Studio, and they can set up a call center remotely, virtual, within 10 minutes. So it takes about a day to set the office up, and then each employee takes about 10 minutes to set the software up and they're ready to go, and they're not doing much with it. So if you've got an area like that you can leverage, by all means, now's the time to accelerate and leverage that. So even if it does slow down, you're going to have enough reserves to carry you through and to push through that time period. Okay, the other one, another area, and I've got my notes right here, some different companies I'm looking at, where they've got existing products to leverage. So for example, the second area up there is not just market development, but also it's dealing with additional promotion, sort of moving things forward with whatever you've got. One company in 2009, I was working with a company called PlanSwift. And this company had software that would help companies to do bids on projects like strip malls. The average time would take 6 weeks with their software. You can get it done in about 6 hours. And so as the economy started to tank, the problem is that more people needed to know about their kind of software, because if there was less business, everyone needed to make sure at least they got whatever was left. So the competition was all doing the SEO. So we went to extreme SEO. So we managed to create over 200 landing pages. And then with those 200 landing pages, sorry about that phone there. With those 200 landing pages, we were able to get him so that he had the top 9 spots out of the top 10 spots in the Google homepage. So even though his business was tanking, he grew at 10%, while his competition was all tanking.
So in that specific case, SEO, you guys identified as the most valuable thing to do, put a bunch of extra energy into SEO that you normally wouldn't have done, and focused on getting results in SEO in a hurry.
Yeah, we had to make sure, again, that we had, if there was less traffic, it's fine. We just need to get more of whatever that was. So we ended up actually even getting more traffic than we ever had before. And afterwards, the company continued that practice, and eventually they grew massively. They were successfully acquired within a year afterwards. So that little slowdown turned out to be, the guy's worth millions of dollars now.
Okay, any other examples?
Yeah, another example would be PR. For example, if you've got something like that that solves a problem, we can see some examples right now with like the companies that do whiskey, and suddenly they realize no one's going to the bars, so that's not going to work very well. So they've converted their alcohol into hand sanitizer. And then what I mean by PR is now they're contacting the local radio stations, the television stations, saying we've got this available. So that's free advertisement. So you really want to be able to leverage that. That's another kind of promotion you can do. For example, I have another friend, and she is a seamstress, and there's not too many people buying new clothes, so not bringing their suits in to have them altered. So she has taken her 4 people, and they are all cranking out masks. And then right now she's just setting up distribution to get those masks out. And
Cool.
so the quickest way to do that, PR.
And could you give a couple of steps? Some people aren't familiar with PR, or they haven't done it, like a lot of restaurants maybe have not done PR. What are just a couple of steps for a business to do PR?
There's several formal steps you can take, but right now I just go with total guerrilla approach. And I would just look up the local television and radio stations and call them up. They're looking for stories, salvation stories.
Okay, cool. Any other examples?
Yeah, for example, social media. There's a lot of businesses that and again, all you're dealing with now is you're now taking the same business, and if you've got 10% of the traffic, you need 110% or 1,000 times the amount of promotion that goes out there to be able to get the same number of prospects coming in the door or contacting your business. So one is with social media, 40%, it's actually 41% of the number one influence that determines a company's selection of a business is their online reviews. So if you're a doctor, or if you're a restaurant, now they're just looking at the few remaining restaurants that are open. But if they're trying to sort of select which one, those online reviews are even more valuable to you. So in that particular case, if you don't know how to do that, there's software out there like Review Inc. is one of the companies. It's like $100. And so for $100, you could more than make that up with the first couple sales that you're making, and use that to get better online reviews. Another approach would be virtual events. Like one of the companies I'm working with, he's sort of like a Tony Robbins, but for sort of a different market segment. So in his case, his sales, everything was dropping down, sort of like on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Your personal development wasn't really high when you're starving. So he needed to find those people that still were interested, so he had to go after a bigger base. So we did a virtual event. We formed an alliance with just 4 of the companies, pretty simple alliance. We just call them up and say, hey, we've got this event we want to do. We had 47,000 people show up for that. And that only took us about a week and a half, a little less than 2 weeks, to orchestrate that, set up the companies, and broadcast it out to everybody. And then again, that's another case you'd contact the press, so that he was able to give that event for free, where he usually charged for that. But he's had so much increase on his website that it certainly paid for his effort.
Okay, so what I hear you saying is, when there's a disrupted economy, especially when it's seriously disrupted, you want to look at your marketing strategies, look at the different ways you can get out there, focus, and not just keep doing the same old thing that you're doing, and get really aggressive and make sure that you can at least survive, if not grow.
Yeah. Again, if you diversify, if you look at different ways that you can promote better out to your market and so forth. We also see examples in some industries that we've seen this on television with the restaurants. For example, one of my sons was a waiter at a restaurant making $400 to $600 a night, and suddenly that dried up. So now they're doing curbside delivery. So they have now picked up online ordering software, mobile software. They quickly changed gears. So when I went to this small mall area, There's about 20 different restaurants there. There's only 3 open, and his is one of those.
That's cool. Okay, well, that's great. What kind of resources would you suggest people use to help them with this kind of a thing?
My own website is chanimal.com. It's been around for 25 years. It's the #1 resource for high-tech marketing, but it's got over 1,000 pages of content in all these different areas showing strategically how to sort of set this up, how to think it through, and then it shows all the different tactics and tons of examples that you can use. And then I even have some videos you can watch there that show some other examples. It gets the juices going, think this thing through, look at a structured approach, map it out, and then just execute with a vengeance.
Perfect. And then what about next steps? What would you recommend the next step is for someone, a business owner, an entrepreneur, to be able to take a look at this marketing stuff and make sense of where they need to go with it?
I would go to my Chanimal website because it has a structured approach on how to go through all of this.
Okay.
That's what I do. And then those 4 points that I was talking about, just write them down on a piece of paper and then consider how you might leverage those. Again, market development, that's not one that you usually do. It takes too long. Market penetration, that just means more promotions. Look at your SEO, look at your online reviews. Think of different ways that you can promote with the press, some things that are, I'm just talking really grassroots things that are fairly easy to do without much experience. Diversification, think if you were hemming pants, it's time to go into making masks. If you were making whiskey, it's time to now make hand sanitizer.
Okay, perfect. And if people want to get a hold of you to ask questions, how do they do it?
Chanimal.com.
Perfect.
That's chanimal.com, like a chanimal.
Okay, Ted, thank you very much. That was great.
You bet. Thank you.
Mentorship Minutes are just one way TiE Denver fosters Colorado entrepreneurship. We're part of a global network of 60 chapters with over 15,000 members. Our goal is to be the leading mentorship organization, providing connections, capability, and capital for Colorado entrepreneurs.